and welcome back to the Public Policy Center's Research in Brief video series. I'm Nami Surendranath, a media intern at the center, and today we'll be doing an education brief episode with visiting Associate Professor Dave Gould. Thanks for joining me, Dave. So tell us a little bit about your role at the Public Policy Center.
Primarily, I'm working with undergraduate students, typically freshman, sophomore, though any undergrad student can take my course. And it's a progression of first helping students figure out how the university can work for them, what they care about, what they want to study, what differences they want to make in the world, what kind of gifts they have to offer, and then beginning to help them figure out how to plug that in to something larger than themselves. And if these are large classes, and if I'm successful in helping students identify that kind of why behind their education, I'm successful in helping them see possibilities to plug that in. Then from the center's perspective, I'm able to help move them up the conveyor belt into research internship opportunities that enrich their education even more.
How would you describe the course and the purpose that it serves for the students that enroll?
Well, I teach one right now, and I'm developing a second one for the center and the larger university. The first one is life design. It's a class that I actually got the kind of seed of the idea when I was the associate director for the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. The one thing that I noticed, some of it was anecdotal from the position I was sitting at in the dean's office, is that the students that I was seeing, the ones that I thought were suspect for maybe taking a run and not making it all the way through to the goal line of a 4-year undergraduate degree, were students that I didn't think could answer the why of their education. They understood that they needed an undergraduate, a bachelor's degree to have the type of success. A high school degree wasn't going to cut it. This was going to improve their options. But that deeper question of what do I really care about? What do I really want to dedicate 30, 40, 50 years of my life to doing? And in a way, these 20 something years, I mean, you'll be asking those questions. Who am I? What do I want to do? Where do I want to do it? What do I care about? What keeps me up at night? You'll be asking those your entire life. I mean, and it will change, but there's something special about the 20 something years. They're disruptive. And I don't mean that in a negative way. There's lots of change. And I really believe that if you're able to help them find at least a start on the path, that they're going to be much more successful.
And lastly, what motivates you for doing this work and why is it important to you?
So I call myself an accidental academic. And what I mean by that is I wasn't even going to college. I graduated from high school. I was playing in a band. We were going to be, rock stars, of course. And my father came into my bedroom about 2 weeks before any university was going to start. Education was important to him. Learning, this continual learning was important to him. And his pitch to me was a 16-week experiment. Go for 16 weeks, see what it's like, and if you don't like it, come back and then figure out your life from there. But a funny thing started to occur, and that is I started to look around me and said, you know what? This is kind of an interesting place for me to take a pause and really think about what I want to do and where I want to go. I probably didn't think about getting a degree until I was 2 or 3 years in. But I followed the courses that interested me. I tried to do real well, and then I tried to connect the dots and really discover what I thought I had to offer and what I cared about putting my time and energy into. And so I never thought that I would ever, if you'd have told me, certainly when, at 18 years old, or even at my early 20s, that I would spend my whole adult life on a college campus, I would think you were insane. I would think you're absolutely crazy. But the world is interesting, and I've had a wild and crazy path, from a music major that graduated with an art major that had my work in a gallery in Chicago, that brought me to the University of Iowa to get an MFA, to a class I took on a whim, and a professor that took an interest in me, the birth of my son that changed my perspective, and gradually opportunities that found me as as an educator and teaching. There's a book Viktor Frankl wrote called Man's Search for Meaning. And it's the idea that it kind of the engines that run all of us is this desire to live meaningful lives. I mean, obviously, there's base things we need, to food and shelter and security and those kinds of things that give us a foundation to live that. But once we have that, this notion of living a life that at the end of it feels, man, that was something, and it was worth it, right? It was meaningful, and the only way that I've concluded happens, and it happens from lots of different angles, but the commonality is it has to have do something with others. It isn't a Lone Ranger act. It includes your life connecting with other people, and in some weird way along the path, I got tossed in some classrooms and asked to do some things in teaching, and realized that that same developmental window I talked about, with that same cohort of students, that if I really cared and really tried to invest myself in their lives, that you know maybe a few successes equals some meaning, and at the end of the day, it feels pretty good when I put my head down.
Thanks for tuning in to this Teaching in Brief episode of Research in Brief. I'm Nami Surendranath with the Public Policy Center. See you next time.